Hi everybody, and welcome back to the MetaTailor YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be importing assets, but not just any assets. I've pulled assets from around the web, from users that we've credited down below, from Sketchfab, DeviantArt, and other 3D repositories to bring us some recognizable characters. We've got Akuma from Street Fighter, an Adeptus Auroras from Warhammer 40k, Kakashi from Naruto, and Link from Legend of Zelda. These are all going to be separate videos that we're going to be building these 4 characters in, but we're going to be creating these assets using the ones I've pulled from other creators that have nothing to do with MetaTailor. We'll be able to apply it to our avatar, swap avatars, and it'll work on any avatar in our library and any avatar you bring in. This is available to both free and pro users. This is not something that is only accessible to pro users. Anybody using MetaTailor can pull in any asset, apply it to any avatar, and it'll just work. So make sure you like and subscribe down below to follow along for more of the videos in this series and more videos that MetaTailor puts out. And let's go ahead and hop in and get dressed. Okay, here we are in MetaTailor 2.0. Let's go ahead and start a new project. This one I'm going to call Adepta from the Adeptus Auroras from Warhammer 40k. These are the Sisters of Battle, so we've got some really cool sci-fi power armor. Before I even get started, I'm just going to go ahead and, because they're a female character, we're going to go to our avatars, my content, and just change it into a female A pose. Right there, perfect. All right, let's go ahead and start bringing in some assets. Now, this one has a lot of pieces. And I'm going to start with our shoulders, but you can see we've got all of these pieces. All of them have normal maps, roughness maps, metallics, diffuse maps. And the creator on DeviantArt was nice enough to kind of color code these for us, especially when you pull it into a program like Maya, where I had to modulate it and break it down into all the individual pieces. So we're going to go ahead and start with our shoulder L. I'm going to drop our saturation all the way down, bring our value all the way up, and go to our color maps and find the L diffuse. And then I'll go through all those other ones. Normal, L normal, roughness, L roughness, metal, L metal. Awesome. And now I'll go ahead and jump over to the shoulder R1, which is this nice blue color. Now, if I don't pull the saturation down and the value up, what happens if I go to color, or diffuse, R normal, R roughness, and R metal, is it keeps that tint. It keeps that hue. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that saturation all the way down to kind of push out those colors that this comes with, and bring in the value, bring that up to the highest point. Just really push those colors. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hit next step. All right, so these are shoulder pieces. So I'm gonna call this more of a I don't want it to be affected by any kind of arm movements or stuff like that. I'm imagining like straps of a backpack. I don't want these to flex and bend because they're metal, they're hard. So I'm gonna go to backpacks. I'm gonna call this a backpack for now. All right, and I know that Games Workshop loves massive pauldrons, but we are going to drag these down a little bit more to a reasonable size. Now, you could bring something like this in and mirror it over, but the reason why I didn't with these shoulders specifically is they've got 2 little decals on the shoulder. Each one is a little different than the other one. One is for the Imperium of Man, and one is the fleur-de-lis of the Sisters of Battle. I don't know a ton about Warhammer 40k. I don't play the tabletop war game, but I have looked into the lore because I find it fascinating. Start pose match. I don't have to do very much pose matching, it looks like. I've got that pretty close. Actually, yeah, I won't do any pose matching. Let's go ahead and hit next step. All right, awesome. Let's add some more pieces. Oops, it's still tailoring. Hang on. Amazing. Let's go to import, another cloth and accessory. So those are the shoulders. Let's go ahead and add the body armor. Put that underneath it. Show you how the dynamic layering works between those two because it's going to come in a little broken trying to put that over those. All right, standard surface. Let's go ahead and change that to our dynamic armor. Color, let's find our dynamic armor diffuse, our dynamic armor normal, our dynamic armor roughness, and our dynamic armor metal. Drag our saturation all the way down, value all the way up. I believe this standard surface is supposed to be our underwear here for these underlined clothings. Underwear diffuse. Yep, there it is. Normal, underwear, roughness, rough underwear. Bad joke, bad joke. Metalness. Should have almost none. There we go. And then the last one we got to do are those spikes. Just give those spikes some color, give those spikes some shininess. Where are our spikes? Diffuse. Spikes normal. Roughness on our spikes. There. And the metal on our spikes. Super metallic. Let's go ahead and bring our value all the way up, our saturation all the way down. Just peek at that, peek at that. They're all the same. Awesome. Next step. Now we got to place this. This one I'm going to call more of a shirt. I do want this one to bend. You can hit next step. First things first, I always like to aim for the neck. That's usually my best spot to start aiming for, is right around the neck to get that place. This size feels appropriate. I might be able to bring it down just a little bit, get that a little bit tighter. But this size does feel pretty good. So let's go ahead and hit confirm. I don't need a rotate or anything. I do need a pose match. This character is got their hips forward. So let's bring our hips forward a little bit. Let's bring our hips in a little bit. There we go. As far as arms go, I'm going to pull it out to there. And let's just pull our hands out a little. Oops, those are our hips. Pull our hands back, pull our hips back forward. They were sitting right on top of each other. Pull our hips in a little bit. Pull our shoulders in a little bit. Pull our shoulders down, in. That's looking pretty good. Bring our hand out just to give it a little bit more match in there. Pull our elbows. Really, our elbows should be what's coming out here because we got arm pads and stuff like that. So this is where our elbow should be coming out of. And we can pull our hands actually a little bit farther out and down. There we go. That's wrapping nicely. Just pull our elbow forward a little bit more. There we go. That's more of what it should be. Awesome. Maybe we do pull our elbows up a little bit more. Not our elbows or shoulders, my apologies. Shoulders, just back a little bit. Forward a little bit. Maybe go ahead and hit confirm and just scale this up a touch. Go. Maybe touch up that pose match a little bit more. I'm trying to find the sweet spot for those underarms and shoulders. Peeking out the back a little bit. Pull our head up a little bit. Ooh. Yeah, make our head a little bit bigger. Those out. So try to get that to match for where the elbow is going to be coming out. All right. Pull that arm down a little bit more. So we just need about a 60% match. I think that's pretty good, even less than a 60% match. MetaTailor will do its magic and try to get this lined up for us. So let's calculate that wrap and see how we do. This one's tricky. It's got a lot of moving parts. It's got a lot of tailoring to do to try to match all that. Still thinking. It's going to put it on our character. Chugging, chugging, chugging. Lots of pieces, lots of textures. Getting it all in our scene, getting it all wrapped nicely. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Let's get some other stuff added in. Look, it's trying to wrap over those shoulders. Let's go ahead and help it out. Bring those Adepta shoulders up above. There they are. We can move those out properly now that we know where they're supposed to sit a little bit better. We scale them out a little bit, bring up a little bit, scale them out a little bit. Have them not affect the layering, or confirm, don't affect the layering. Shrink wrap them down a little bit. Do the same. Definitely shrink wrap this. We want to shrink wrap this. Just some global shrink wrap. Oh, you can see it's still chugging, it's still tailoring, trying to work on it. I usually do a little spin to see how well it's doing. Despite the thinking. Maybe I'll have to type that number in because each time it freaks out just a little bit. Once it lets me type a number in there, I will attempt that. Even while that's tailoring, we'll try to import something else. All right, so that was the body armor. Let's go ahead and add the backpack. Let's clean up some of our back issues. Oh, cool. This is one of the ones I played with earlier to make sure everything was working. And so it already has our color for us. MetaTailor was smart enough. I didn't know MetaTailor would do that. So let's just go ahead and add our normal. I should have done that for everything. Just got to pre-prepared each piece, at least in this way, roughness. And our metal. Saturation's down, values up. Next step. Call this backpack. Next step. Definitely want to move it back. Definitely want to move it up. Have it sit right around there, covering the back of our character. Yeah, let's leave it there. Confirm, don't need to pose match. Next step. And then see if we crash MetaTailor with all these big assets I'm bringing in. I'm really testing it. Oh, that's looking nice now. You can still shrink wrap maybe a little bit in there, but it really is starting to fix up. It did that tailoring for us while we were working on that next asset. Very cool. Don't think the diffuse map is clicking all the way into our body armor here, but that's okay. We'll try to fix that later. That's not a huge issue. Let's go ahead and import the next piece. So we did our backpack, we got our body armor, we'll bring that bolter in last. We got forearms, gloves. Let's do our leg armor. Awesome. So our standard surface, that's going to be our underwear, our underclothing. So underwear, diffuse, normal underwear. Nope, not ambient occlusion. We want roughness. Rough underwear. I'm going to tell that joke every time now. And metallic underwear. Which I would not be surprised with Adeptus Auroras. All right, this one, we're going to want to make sure our saturation is at 0. Our value is all the way at 100. Add some color. This is going to be our dynamic legs. It's doing the same thing as our body, so I guess it's on par. Everything's working the same way. Got our roughness. And our metallic. Awesome. Next step. This is going to be pants. Next step. I'm just going to try to tuck in that top armor into the bottom armor. We don't want that. So we'll be messing with our dynamic layers to make sure it's in the right spot. So these, yeah, it looks like these butts, a great place to aim for on this one. Let's pull it forward a little bit. There we go. Let's scale it out a little bit. Our avatar here has a more shapely butt than the Adeptus Auroras, but that's fitting pretty good. Remember, we're only trying to hit a little bit. We're not trying to hit perfect. MetaTailor does that work for us, so don't sit here, and even I'm probably playing with it too much. That's just out of habit. Good, good, good. Let's hit confirm. And next step, let's see how that did. We don't want the underwear over. Let's pull it under. It's still tailoring, still working on it. How are you? You still never got past 4, but at least the tailoring started looking better. All right, well, it's figuring all that out. Ooh, I froze it. We'll hit import here in a second. We'll let it keep thinking. Let's bring in something else. I think that's an easy way to do that. Let's go ahead and bring in our waist. It's going to add a little bit more, kind of help clean up that middle area where the spikes are, where everything is. So the waist will definitely help us with that. Well, it does that. Okay, that's awesome. Saturation, value, no, value is other way. Value is all the way up. Saturation is all the way down. Color. Waist. Amazing. That's more the colors everything else should be. We're on our normal. Roughness. Metallic. Next step. That's all that waist should have. Ooh. Do I want to call it a belt? No. I want to call it, I think, a skirt. That'll work. It's not, I mean, it's going to flow like a skirt. It's got that tight spot like at the up top. If we had to apply physics to it, it's going to stick to the body up top, and then everything else below that's going to flow. So I think skirt will work well for that one. I was debating between that and pants, depending on where I want it to sit, but I think skirt will work well. All right, we are back. I had to pause and come back because it took a really long time to get all this stuff in there. And in that time, I quick fixed the UV maps as well to make sure that we could actually see all the cool stuff we wanted to see. So here is our Adeptus Auroras. It's still trying to figure out some of the mathematics behind everything and figure it all out and shape it. But while it does that, let's keep importing. Let's bring in a couple more pieces. I don't think I'll be able to bring in the bolter and everything else because of how it is chugging right now, but let's definitely get our boots in and our rebreather in. Those are two really cool pieces. So we'll bring our boots in. There's one boot. Grab our color map. Diffuse. Normal. Then we'll mess with our values. Roughness. This is a bigger outfit than I think. I mean, biggest one I've ever done. And already it's struggling just a little bit to get everything functioning properly. Bring that over. So I'm trying to match this shoe to the foot just to make our pose match a little easier. Looks like I'll have to, whoops. Adjust the foot just a little bit. Bring that down, hit confirm, start pose match. Just bring those toes in. There we go, that's all it took. Look at that, perfect. Just make those feet a little smaller, confirm, next step. Let that add it to our character. It's gonna take another bit to get that all added in, but as soon as it does, as soon as it'll let me, I'll go ahead and mirror it over. Awesome. There's our boot, bring it underneath everything. Bottom, mirror. And it's gonna tailor and get that to wrap in there properly. I turned off some of the effect layers on some of these because they were getting a little, I think that was one of the reasons why it was really chugging, and even now why it's chugging. Let's go ahead and, as soon as it lets me, I'll go ahead and hit import again. And so when I'm talking about, like, this is one of the biggest things, at least I've seen in MetaTailor, or that I've played with in MetaTailor. Oh, there it goes. All good. It freaked out for just a tiny moment. The poly count and all this stuff is a little bit high. It comes with 4 maps on each and every piece. There's a lot of pieces. So that's where MetaTailor is like, whoa, this is really cool. And I can handle it. It's just struggling a bit because it's such a massive piece of clothing. But I think it's really cool. And I want to wrap it up here. We got our backpack. We got our battle hammer. We're going to skip our bolter. It's just a really nice sci-fi pistol. Forearm gloves. We'll take a look at maybe some of those. But I really want this rebreather. That's one of the cooler pieces to this power armor here. It's this big face mask. Leave that kind of pink color. That'd be kind of cool. It's kind of like pink tint to it. Not ambient occlusion. Roughness. And metallic. Awesome. Crank our value up to 100. Bring our saturation way down. Next step. So this one I want to stick. I don't want it to rattle around like a necklace. So I think for this one, I'll just also, might call this one a belt just to see how it sits. So we'll say belt. We won't have it go around the body there, but we'll call it a belt. Because much like the shoulders and like the backpack and everything, it's just going to sit right here. It's hard plastic. I don't want it to really manipulate all that much. So that's the part that goes into the backpack. Doesn't wrap right over the face. I think that's really good right there. Let's hit confirm. Next step, and wait a beat to get that applied. It will sit on top of everything. There it goes. Oh, that is so close to perfect. I think our backpack's a little too big. I was gonna go ahead and manipulate that, but I think it's our backpack because it's also crushing our shoulder pads there. It's crushing some of our belt things. So I think I'm going to take this backpack down a little bit. Hit confirm or reset over here. Let that do its work. I can turn off effects layering there. So yeah, if we scale down our backpack and have that try to match that rebreather, I think that'd look really cool. And so for the gloves, it's not going to be actual fingers. I believe it's just a back plate for the forearm guards. We could take a look at that and see where those fit. But other than that, I think we're done for this video. We'll move around, we'll tweak it, take a look at it. But just due to the size of it, I'm not going to add all those last couple of things. I mean, I will for myself later on, but for the sake of everything here, we will see that's always my little test. Consistently my test is, can I spin the camera? Can I tumble the camera? That's what tells me kind of if I can or if there's any issues or anything like that. But if I can spin my camera, that means everything is firing how it's supposed to be. And I can go ahead and hit confirm. I'll rescale that, come up here, turn off effects layering. Maybe we can get those hand wraps in there because it's looking really good. Gloves, that way, I believe these are the forearms. I believe they came in with this. So that means the gloves and the bolter would be the last thing. Let's get these gloves in there. So you can see it's kind of like this, just this hand pad. So we'll go into our color, give it a diffuse, give it a normal, give it a roughness. Maybe. Let it think for a moment. Maybe it was too much, but we'll get it in there. We'll get it in there because I like to mirror it over. Get our fingers in there. It'll show us. Hopefully. There it goes. Only mini freakouts. Only mini freakouts. Dial our value all the way up. Get that. Look at that. Look at that. That looks amazing. I'm glad we're doing this. So we don't have a glove. I don't want this to be accessory. Call it another belt. And use it almost, I mean, we could kind of, I guess we could use it like a bracelet. But I don't want, I want to do belt. I want to do belt because I don't want to have to place it and layer it, because what happens with the accessories is you choose what point to anchor it on. And I don't necessarily want to anchor it on anything. I want it to be attached to the model. So I'm going to call that a belt. If you go watch and go back and watch our Link or our Akuma video, both of those have accessories that attach to one of the body parts. This one, though, I want it to be part of the outfit, not necessarily an accessory. And same like with everything else I've been doing, I'll try to match this because I'm going to mirror it over to the model instead of necessarily pose matching the model to this. And that's a unique thing you can do with like gloves, shoes. Especially ones that you're going to mirror. If it's not mirrorable, there's a word I made up, and you have two gloves that you have to match just based on the asset or based on what it is, kind of like with our shoulders, then you still have to go in and pose match it. Yeah, our shoulders would be a good example of that. If each glove had its own decal on the back and those decals weren't the same, that would be a really great example of having to do 2 at the same time and then pose match. Okay, that's pretty good. Tweak it just a touch this way, bring it down just a little bit more this way. That's pretty good, then we don't have to pose match. All right, we just gotta wait for this to get built in. Let it do its thinking. And then I'll show you the bolter in the other window. I won't attach it, I'll cancel out before I bring it in. Mirror, have it not affect layering. It's tailoring, it'll draw that other one for us. Maybe I do want this one to affect the layering. Mirror, affect layering. It's still thinking it'll get that in there. And so while it thinks of that, because I want that to kind of pinch over that forearm grasp. Cool. Before I do any of that, let's go ahead and take a look at hair. Just use some hair that's already in here. You can do some... This cascade piece has a bow, so I'm going to do this pro hair. Or I can even look at our marketplace. Do we have any good hair in our marketplace? Typically, I think the Adeptus Auroras have like white hair. I think there's a lore behind it, because every drawing I see, they've got like this white hair, very similar to this cascade piece right here. But this cascade piece has like a big pink bow in it. I don't feel like a pink bow matches the vibe of our Adepta right here. Let it think. We've seen this before. We're just let it think. And this is purely just because this character here is too big. This button could kind of work, and maybe we can add a tint to it. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to download that and apply it. Apply. Bring it up. Bring it back. Scale. Ooh, not that big. There we go. That kind of fits. Come down here. Saturation. Okay, what can I do? That's opposite. Ooh. Back to our tools. That's good enough. All right, like I said, I'm going to quick hit save right here. Saving. And as soon as it's done saving, I'll show you that bolter, and that'll be the end of this video. All right. And the bolter. In case you wanted to go and find this on your own and do exactly what I did. Color. Base color. I'll just do that. There you go. And there we have it. We have created, or recreated for that matter, a bunch of characters from pop culture. Now, once again, these assets were not designed for MetaTailor. I pulled them from Sketchfab, DeviantArt, other places like that, and brought them into Maya, modulated them down to individual pieces, and turned them into FBXs so we could import them into MetaTailor, a feature available to both free and pro users. So thank you so much. Remember to like and subscribe down below, and I will see you all next time.